In a rare and dramatic move, a senior federal judge appointed nearly 40 years ago by former President Ronald Reagan has resigned from the bench, and he's doing it to protest President Donald Trump. U.S. District Judge Mark L of Massachusetts, age 78, says he could no longer stay silent as, in his words, the Trump administration used the law for partisan purposes. Wolf, who has served since 1985, made his announcement in a powerful essay published in The Atlantic, describing what he calls an assault on the rule of law. He wrote that he had once expected to serve for life, but the growing actions of the Trump White House have made that impossible for him to accept. He said, and I quote, "Silence is now intolerable," end of quote. Judge Wolf explained that he believes President Trump has been targeting political opponents through the Justice Department while protecting allies and donors from investigations. He called this behavior contrary to everything he stood for in more than 50 years of public service. Wolf also criticized the Department of Justice prosecutions of former FBI Director James Comey and New York's Attorney General Letitia James, arguing that the president's political influence has led prosecutors to act unfairly. He noted that even when defendants are acquitted, the process itself can cause devastating harm. He accused Trump of ignoring the most basic rule of justice, that prosecutors should never seek indictment unless there is enough solid evidence to prove guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Wolf said the president's interference undermined the independence of the courts and threatens democracy itself. The longtime judge also denounced Trump's calls to impeach judges who ruled against him, calling such attacks unconstitutional and dangerous. He warned that these assaults on the courts have led to real threats against judges across the country. In his resignation statement, Wolf said he is stepping down so he can freely speak out and work with others to protect the rule of law and American democracy. He added that he plans to advocate for judges who cannot speak publicly, and he hopes that his actions will inspire others to defend the nation's legal system. The court in Massachusetts praised Wolf's decades of service, calling him a steadfast defender of justice whose ruling has shaped important legal principles nationwide. Judge Wolf ended his statement with a quote from Robert Kennedy, saying that every person who stands up for an ideal sends forth a tiny ripple of hope. For Wolf, that ripple begins with his resignation, a final act of protest in defense of American justice. Drop a comment down below and don't forget to like, subscribe and share. This is Morning America.